What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of NF Twins. There has been a death, the death of expertise. Or has there? Let's explore today if it's actually necessary to still have 20 years of experience, or if you can run a startup and rock everything that needs to be done with just some AI. All right, so basically you're saying AI just made expertise affordable. Well, at least you don't have to study for 10 years or something, or I don't know, intern for 2, then work for 5. You can just ask a simple question, maybe know some influencers or someone who's doing it really well already, and say, what are they doing? Let's do it the same. I mean, for me, it's interesting to see the development of all of this. So, for example, back in the day before the internet, you had to go either to libraries or somebody to big business, big companies, and like, this guy has done this before, and try to get their knowledge base. Then with the internet and as well as YouTube, like you can go on YouTube videos, watch professionals how they like say their opinions, and then hopefully based on that you learn more. So like basically I guess it's more everybody got more people got access to it. And now with AI, you basically have always an expert in your pocket, which you can directly talk to, a specific given knowledge, so background information on your current situation, which has then a huge impact because most of these YouTube videos, so I was like before it's very broad, then you go on YouTube, then you have specific niche. So it's like a better expertise and gives you like better advice. But then nowadays you can just give it all the I guess background information so it knows and then it can gives you exact advice to your situation. So I believe this now just democratizes information and expertise. Democratizing. Favorite word. Everybody loves that. So, and 2020, a 22-year-old basically can outperform a 20-year veteran in the industry. I mean, yes and no. So it depends on the intern, of course. If the intern uses AI, the other one, the veteran, doesn't use any AI. And as well as what industry is it? Is an industry that is highly changing or not? If the industry is very old and it's like everything is based with like old processes, I don't believe it. But if it's a new changing environment that is being disrupted with AI, 100%, I believe that. So it's, and the other one is, well, it's also not that because they're outperforming them because they're smarter, because they use leverage, right? It's all about leverage. We talked about as well before. Using AI amplifies output. It's just leveraging basically the output to beat the odds or beat the ones that don't use it. All right, another one for me that was very, very fascinating is if you think about it, before status, like ego was all about status, right? You have like a title, etc. Well, it still is, and depends on what game you are. 100%. But now AI is not killing jobs, but more like I guess, status in the kind of that an intern can be better than somebody who's a VP because they're using AI better than somebody who's a VC or VP, etc. I think yes, it can do the same because it, again, as you mentioned earlier, depends on the niche. What exactly are you doing? The AI still cannot implement everything. It can give you knowledge, but it necessarily can't implement it. I have an angle for it. I think it's maybe probably when it's related to I know more than you, because then it's like based on okay, yeah. But a counterpoint to this argument is actually that you can say yes, it's still about perceived because somebody was a VP title is perceived to be more knowledgeable than somebody who was just like an intern, even though the one an intern might have access to ChatGPT, the other one doesn't, even though nowadays everybody has access to it. So basically it could be, depending on also who the intern is, like how well do they use AI. In this episode, we're gonna hear a lot of could be here. Not gonna lie to you guys. But talking about AI already that basically knows everything. So what's left, Lucas? What are users or people in startups or in businesses gonna do in the future? I mean, to be honest, the most important part, especially when I'm looking at our company and that we're building, it's just the willingness to try out things and then being able to discuss with ChatGPT and then see like what's the best move forward. Or because in the end, if you think about, let's say you have to build a marketing strategy, right? Normally, if you don't have no idea how to build a marketing strategy, what you would do, go on YouTube, watch some videos, and then just follow a specific, I guess, blueprint. Whereas nowadays, you can just like put it into ChatGPT. It will give you a strategy, which might be good or might be absolute garbage. You don't know because, to be honest, some of these recommendations, they sound very overconfident. So it comes down to judgment and taste. So you need to be able to judge if this decision is good or not. What are the inputs? What are the outputs? Does it make sense to use this in this scenario? What are things that the AI is maybe not considering? So be very detailed in the questioning what they're telling you. I mean, also think one of the most important parts is that you always look at it from like logical, because sometimes the things that it recommends is absolute like
Yeah.
garbage. So, for example, another day, because we're in a beauty niche right now, and ChatGPT recommended that the first message that once a client texts you regarding your services is a very long text. And then, like, if you think about it, just from common sense. You have just like a attention span of 3 seconds or four. You're not going to read that long message. First of all, it looks AI written. You already lose interest. It looks automated. You'd rather have like a super short information because you just have few questions before you actually make the booking. So these are the things like it convinced the beauty expert so much as like this is what you have to say, that she's texted that and was wondering why she didn't get any response. Because yeah, I mean, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't respond either if I'd read it like a library, like the Bible. So these are things that if you trust it 100%, it can also lead you the wrong way. So we're still in the murky waters in the sense of AI knows a lot, but necessarily in all situations. So this long message might be in other scenarios great, but for the purpose that it did, maybe also the phrasing why she used it wasn't correct. She didn't ask the AI properly. Hey, this is a scenario, etc. Should I be using this long message or not? Could also be a scenario, I
Right?
mean, the point is it multiple factors, right? One could be the context window. The context window was still including other things where longer messages were more accurate, and then the shorter ones for messages were not included. So I think there are, of course, more multiple reasons to explain it, but in the end, it's more about does it make sense? Like from common sense, is that the right approach? And that's very important. And coming back to expertise, I think it's not about having first of all, if you have expertise and then using AI, you're going to be unbeatable. So that's why I think one of the main reasons what that actually AI will do is kill average, because experts or people who are really good at a job will be even greater, and people who are pretty shit,
S-
they will be even worse because they're not using it, meaning they will just
The
be found
gap is
out.
bigger. And so
Yes.
basically, AI gives options, but humans choose consequences. So they have to live with the consequences or implement that, right? End of the day. So do you think that the new elite won't be the most educated? It will be the ones who use the AI the best?
Yes. I mean, to be honest, I mean, we went to university, got multiple degrees. And when I always think about it, I'm like, did it really help me in business? Not really, because like doing the thing is actually the most important thing. Now talking about it, they doing the thing, think about the thing. It's just like doing business helps you get better at business. So that's like rule number one. So I think same with like being better with AI is like using AI. So I believe like people who use AI will be much better, and especially the natives, like AI natives who just like grew up with it. So I think the new era belongs to the people who are fastly adapting, quick learners. Quick learners is always a good skill to have, and people who feel comfortable using AI and also don't trust AI 100% necessarily. So they're still questioning in a healthy way and using still common sense for this kind of tools. So I think these people will be the ones who will stay on top. That reminds me of an interview I watched or a reel on Jensen
Wang.
D. Rockefeller. When he was asked, who's the most intelligent person that you know? And for him, he was like, I can't tell you this because in the end, it's like, it's also a different definition. Because, for example, intelligence was back in the day measured with how good you are with, for example, coding. So normally for people with very high intelligence, they go into coding, and coding that was like the most important like measurement stick for intelligence. But then the first thing that AI interrupted or disrupted was coding. like where you thought at the beginning was the last one that actually be disrupted is actually one of the first ones that get disrupted. So his point was he was going into more that interpersonal relationships become more and more important, and that is the better definition of intelligence. And that comes again to the expert part, because you have to become less and less of an expert because the AI will help you all the way through. But you have to be really good because you still people will always be in the loop, aka meaning people do business with people because their people are still run with AI.
So you're saying basically that extroverts will be better off than introverts.
I mean, yes and no. Depends on what position. I mean, yes, to connect with other people, obviously, but like introverts can also be doing just fine. Depends on the position, right?
Everything is very variable and depends on the position. But do you think it boosts now the importance, since now interconnection might be the only thing that's left in the businesses? So the human connections, which will then supercharge extroverts.
I mean, I want to make a point clear. I don't believe right now we're at that stage.
100% not.
I believe in a few years that might be the case, especially now with Open Claw. We'll have another episode on that one. So right now, it is still so much like human labor, even though it's like AI assisted. I mean, just look at ourselves right now, Mark, like coding. If you're coding, like first of all, like it is right now, you just look at the prompt, you're building a prompt, then Lovable builds all this stuff, you revise it and then adjust it. Whereas like
Well,
a
first
year
you
ago,
read what it wants to do, the instructions, right?
yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, in a year, it hasn't changed that dramatically. I think in the last couple, 6, 7 months, not that much. Maybe got cheaper. The prompt you don't have to write as well anymore. The UX UI has changed a bit, but the main functionality is already the same. But I'm excited to see what it can do with a single prompt in a year, 2 years from now, right? So coming back to the topic though, so the real threat is not AI; it's just someone using AI better than you.
100%. Always been, always will be.
Yeah, because it doesn't replace you; it replaces you with someone that is using
Okay,
it.
Mark, what do you think is the outlook for the future? Is this the greatest time ever to start a company, or probably, or maybe the worst one?
Well, we have discussed this already multiple times on this podcast. I think it's the greatest time to start a startup because of the following reasons. It's much cheaper to start a startup. Like all the costs have been going down. AI is helping us with marketing, etc. You can now ask questions. Who the fuck did you ask 10 years ago or 5 years ago if you had an issue or you didn't know? You had to Google, you went into some weird fucking forums or used Reddit and all that kind of stuff. You had no idea. Maybe you got lucky, you knew someone who already did this, but this is what you had to do back in the day. Now with AI, if you're willing to use AI and ask good questions, 100% this is the easiest time. But it's also the most competitive time because everyone can do it now. There is not these skills that you need to build a website, etc. Like you literally write fucking plain English what you want, and it will build it for you.
For me, I agree. Okay, biggest point for me, takeaway, 100%. It's the best time to start a company because it's never been easier. This makes it very hard at the beginning, meaning because so many more people will start building stuff. Then they get frustrated because the biggest part is distribution. So distribution is king. So distribution is so much more important and when people see that there are no people coming. So if you're lucky and you get a lot of inbound, perfect. But as soon as you have outbound and you have to reach out, that's when so it's like basically we'll see a bigger spread of more founders because like everybody can be a founder, but then the ones who actually get raising money, get traction is like like the spread is much bigger now percentage wise, even though the overall number of successful founders will increase.
You know what? I'm also wondering how this will impact VCs in the future. I mean, I think we've talked already in a different episode about it that VC funds are not the traditional VCs anymore. They're also
Media
focusing more
companies.
exactly. They're media
Yeah.
companies and they help with distribution. So I wonder how this will impact that as well. Are they going to use AI podcasts? I think a lot of them are using podcasts already to get their audience and then maybe possible distribution. So this is super interesting how this will play out in the next couple of years, and how bigger companies maybe also will turn into more VCs. I mean, we've seen it with Vira, who was one of our investors. They're part of Telefonica, that they have an investment arm and they invest into new startups and new tech, and how they will use their distribution to just go and help a new startup actually generate more revenue for them.
I mean, excited to see it for sure. All right, Mark, you have anything else?
No, that's
Closing
it.
thoughts?
If you guys have any other ideas, or if you like the episode, please press like, and I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.